Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Dev, where today we continue working on our super retro take on Minecraft. Now last time we started rebuilding our project from the ground up. We simplified the concept to an even stricter tile-based system, which included player movement. The result was a much more performance-efficient version of our previous attempt at a 2D Minecraft experience. Today we continue to add to that experience with even more features. Starting with the water, we'll not only implement water tiles, but also player interactivity with said tiles. Next, we'll try adding a jumping mechanic that'll hopefully work with our player's tile-based movement system. And finally, we'll work on more tile manipulation to enhance the world terrain. Seems like a solid plan, so let's not waste any more time and get to the coding. First up was the water. A small chunk of water tiles was created below the player for easy testing purposes, which showed the player wasn't getting stuck in said water tiles, so things were off to a good start. So in the update ticker, I first decided to get some tile switching out of the way. Similar to grass tiles, any water tiles with anything above them will become the water body tiles. Else, if the tile has nothing above it, the tile switches to a water surface tile. Then, to emulate water gravity, a check was made for tiles below. If nothing exists below a water tile, that spot is then changed to a water tile. And once again, testing showed positive results with tiles behaving as they should, with, again, minimal to no impact on performance. So, back to the update ticker, gravity was disabled whenever the player exists on a water tile. This would allow the player to move freely in every direction without constantly being pulled down, because fighting gravity in water given our current movement system seemed like overkill. And while I really enjoyed how the controls turned out, the water instantly appearing when it should have been, cascading was a little annoying. However, despite my best efforts and multiple different approaches, it didn't seem possible without adding extra steps to the update ticker. The problem seemed to be that despite wanting to check for the appropriate tiles on a per tick basis, the check seemed to occur multiple times during the same tick, thus resulting in the instantaneous waterfalls. I may try again later, but for now I decided to move on to the player jumping. I thought two simple variables would be all we would need: a jump state check and a jump timer. If the player is not already in the air, then pressing up or a jump key would put the player into the jump state and start the jump timer. When in the jump state, the player would not be affected by gravity, but still be able to move left or right. And once the jump timer hits 0, gravity kicks back in when they're back on the ground. Seems simple enough. Didn't work. Once again, despite multiple different approaches, resulting in eventually confusing myself, it just didn't seem to end up working like I wanted it to. Now, I have my suspicions as to what is the cause of the problem, but at the time I was clearly not attentive enough to understand what was going on, so again, I decided to come back to this later and moved on. Back to the water tiles, I had the water surface tiles expand to any neighboring tiles, kinda like it would in Minecraft. And finally, I added a right-click check to the player code. And because I had so little time left, for now, if the cell nearest to the mouse's position isn't marked as a solid, the player would create a grass block in that cell. This obviously emulating the block placement in its barest form. And sadly, that was all I was able to get to for this session. I ended up spending a lot of time trying to get the water to cascade and get the player jumping, and though it may not have been completely successful, I'm confident we can get them working properly in the near future. But despite not everything going right this session, considering that all these changes and we're still absolutely goating with the performance, yeah, my spirits are still pretty high. So fingers crossed that it remains that way for future endeavors. Anyway, that does it for this episode on Let's Dev, so leave a like if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already, leave your thoughts on our progress in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.